GoForThe2.com in with the Week 6 rapid fire selections before I get into the picks for this coming Saturday. This Saturday, October 10th, College Football Today kicks off 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern this coming Saturday, October 10th. Check it out. We talk about all the top 25 battles, the under-the-radar games, have some great guests. I give my best bets for the weekend. Also talk about those late night games in the ACC, Clemson, Miami, Florida State, Notre Dame. So check it out. MSG Plus in the tri-state area. Check out your local cable provider or go to sportsgrid.com, sportsgrid.com. Then once the games kick off at 12, from 12 to 5, take a look on sportsgrid.com, in-game live. I take you through from the in-game wagering perspective. I break down what I see as these games take place in real time. Talk about the line movement as well. So check it out from 12 to 5 this coming Saturday, 12 to 5 Eastern, sportsgrid.com. Kick off your tailgate with College Football Today, MSG Plus, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern. Rapid fire selections. I already put out the pick for Virginia Tech and North Carolina. Check it out. It's a separate video on YouTube. Let's get right into it. Two SEC battles. Auburn against Arkansas. Auburn opened up as a 16.5-point favorite. It's down to 14. What can you say about the Tigers? Disappointing road loss to Georgia. 7.5-point underdog. Before you blinked, they were down 17-0 against Georgia. Georgia outplayed them on the offense and defensive lines. Bulldogs rushed for over 210 yards on that front seven, and more importantly, held the Auburn offense to only 39 rushing yards in that battle. 2.5 yards per carry. That put Bo Nixon to long third downs. He only completed 52% of his passes, 177, no touchdowns, one interception. At times, I thought he made some good plays outside the pocket, but the consistency was not there. The rushing game wasn't there, and they became a one-dimensional offense as this game progressed, especially once they fell behind by 17 points in that battle. Seth Williams, keep an eye out for him throughout this week. DJ Williams as well. Both players are banged up. KJ Britt as well. I think all three players will play in this matchup, so just keep an eye out for the injury report for Auburn this coming Saturday. I still think that Auburn is the better team from the series perspective against Arkansas. They've won 4 straight against the Razorbacks by 39.2 points per game. Yes, 39.2 points per game. Got this victory last year, 51-10. I know Derek Brown was on that team and they had some playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. But I still think that Auburn will be up into this matchup. They're coming off a loss. They also have an opportunity to get back into the mix of the SEC championship race, because not only do they play Arkansas, but they still have to play LSU, Alabama. So the opportunity to bounce back from the Georgia loss is there for the Tigers. They need to be motivated. Now, when you look at Arkansas, they snapped a 20-game losing streak to Mississippi State and KJ Costello. Felipe Frank stepped up, completed 20 of 28 passes, 218 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. They forced turnovers, 3 interceptions against KJ Costello. But I still think I have concerns for Arkansas's offense in this matchup. Cause of concern is third down efficiency, only converting 28% on third downs, and the lack of rushing game for the Razorbacks. Heading into this matchup, only averaging 70 rushing yards per game. Really think it favors still the athleticism of Auburn in this matchup. I still think the better quarterback is Bo Nix in this battle. I know Arkansas playing very well, back-to-back covers, you can say, against Georgia, and last week the outright victory as a double-digit underdog against Mississippi State. But I'm going to lay the wood with Auburn. I think they bounce back in a big way. They can run the football, and I think they dominate this game in the interior. Haven't shown it up until this point, but I feel the Auburn Tigers do get a 21-point victory over the Razorbacks in this battle. Just think it's a bad matchup for Arkansas. Last year, Auburn rushed for 298 on the Razorbacks and held that offense to only 52 rushing yards in that battle. Let's keep it in the SEC. LSU and Missouri. Keep an eye out for the weather of this game. This game was supposed to be in Baton Rouge. There's a hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico. This game might now be played in Missouri, Columbia. If so, would be the first time LSU playing Missouri in Columbia since the Tigers, and I mean the Missouri Tigers, joined the SEC. So keep an eye out for that. You look at Connor Bazelak, the new quarterback freshman that Drinkwitz named as the starter, played well last week on the road against Tennessee. He moved the football between the 30s, just couldn't convert in red zone opportunities, settled for field goals when Tennessee was scoring touchdowns. I think when you look at Missouri's offense, I like the way they moved the football in the second half. He utilized his tight end. He utilized Roundtree and Beatty in the short to intermediate passing game. And whether they play at home or on the road, I think they can move the football on LSU. Now, LSU on paper, the more dominant group. You look at just this defense as a whole under Bo Pelini. Two causes of concern. They're allowing 45% on third down conversions, and that secondary is still giving up yards. I know Stingley came back, but Vanderbilt still put up 150 rushing yards on that defense and 150 through the air. That still wasn't a dominant effort by LSU, in my opinion, last week against a team that is 10-40 since Derek Mason took over after last week's loss to LSU, 10-40 against SEC opponents. So that wasn't a dominant offense led by Vanderbilt. I think Missouri could be in this ball game from start to finish. I like their linebackers, Martez Manuel, Devin Nicholson, Nick Bolton can run sideline to sideline. I think they can keep this game close. I like the playmakers for Missouri. Jalen Knox gets involved. The tight ends get involved. Look for Missouri to score some points on LSU. In the end, LSU wins this game, but Missouri does cover this 20.5 point number either in Baton Rouge or in Columbia, Missouri, Saturday night. Big game in the ACC between Pitt and Boston College. What can you say about Boston College playing very well? Almost got the outright victory against North Carolina. Covered the 14-point number. They were down by 5 at halftime. They had an opportunity to tie the game with 46 seconds left. They score a touchdown. They throw a pick six for 2 points for North Carolina. That's how the Tar Heels won 26-22. You look at Phil Jerkovic, their quarterback, 56 attempts, over 300 passing yards against North Carolina's defense. But guess what? This is a different animal in Pittsburgh. Pitt coming off a disappointing home loss to NC State and Devin Leary. They gave up a touchdown with about 30 seconds left. I picked NC State last week. Didn't think that they would get the outright win, but a dynamic effort by the Wolfpack on the road against the Panthers. Now Pitt goes on the road to face Boston College. Up until this point, Boston College has played all finesse type of teams. They played Duke, Texas State, and North Carolina. Not big physical defensive fronts. I think they're going to be challenged this coming Saturday. You look at Pittsburgh overall, they're only allowing 54 rushing yards per game, 1.9 yards per carry. Yes, 1.9 yards per carry. More importantly, they're only giving up 146 passing yards per game. That front seven in 4 games, 19 total sacks. And a cause of concern is the Boston College offensive line. Through 3 games, 11 sacks allowed. Look for Patrick Jones, Cam Bright, Rashad Weaver. Look for them to step up and force the pressure on Phil Jerkovic. Kenny Pickett, I know he's not elite, but I still think he's the better quarterback in this ball game. He's completed 63% of his passes, 1,123 yards, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I think Pitt dominates this ball game. Double-digit win on the road in Chestnut Hill. One more ball game between TCU and Kansas State. Health of Skylar Thompson's a major concern. When I first looked at this game, I said I might be in on Kansas State. I backed them last week against Texas Tech, but I watched the second half of that battle. Their offense is much different with Skylar Thompson at the helm and then their backup, Will Howard, at the helm. So there's a significant drop-off from productivity with Will Howard to Skylar Thompson. So that's the biggest concern I have heading into this matchup. I look at TCU. Again, I back TCU against Texas. They got a gutty victory over the Longhorns. Max Duggan stepped up, over 230 passing yards, completed 70% of his passes. On the year, he's completed 73% of his passes. Series perspective, TCU's won 2 of the last 3. Here's the situation. Chris Kleiman signed to a 6-year extension. Deuce Vaughn stepped up. But up until last week, where they pounded the rock for 168 yards against Texas Tech, this was an offense that could not run the football consistently. And more importantly, when you look at the lack of offensive playmakers for Kansas State, it solely revolves, in my opinion, around Skylar Thompson. Even if he plays, I'm not sure that he'll be 100%. I think the better quarterback in this battle is Max Duggan. This is a team that's coming off an emotional victory. I think they have better playmakers at the skill positions. J.D. Spielman, Tay Barber. They have playmakers that can stretch Kansas State secondary vertically. If Will Howard has to challenge that TCU defense, I don't know if he can do it. I know it's a big number. Line opened up at like 9. It's anywhere from 7.5 to 8.5. I like TCU to win this ball game by double digits. I don't think there's a drop-off with the victory over the Longhorns. I think they have a better body of work playing Iowa State and Texas. Not sold on Kansas State. And the way Texas Tech was able to run the football right down the middle of that Kansas State defense in the second half, that's a cause of concern heading into this Week 6 matchup. TCU does cover this number by 14 points or more Saturday afternoon in Fort Worth. Stay with me. College Football Today and In-Game Live this coming Saturday. MSG Plus, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern, and then 12 to 5 on the Sports Grid Network. Have a great weekend, everyone.